that's left. That South region as well. Marquette, Houston, Purdue, Tennessee. I think all four of those teams can make it. I mean, they're going to be toss-up games. I think the two best teams left, Phil, in my opinion, are UConn and North Carolina. And I think Arizona is right there. That they would be, Arizona, Marquette, Houston, Tennessee. So those would be about your six teams, I think, that are the best teams that are left. I'm not a believer in Purdue, Phil. I think when Purdue plays a team with some guards and that defend a little bit, I think Purdue's going to be in trouble.
So I think Tennessee's really dangerous because they can win. They can win a game that gets into the 80s or the 90s.
Like Ziegler.
They can win a game that doesn't even make it out of the 70s. That's the thing. It's like, so they beat Texas, and Texas isn't great, but they still beat Texas. And they beat Texas holding them to 58 points. It's a team that can get a real run on you, and it's a team that can slow you down. So, I mean, I don't really know how they match up against Creighton. I didn't get my eyes on the Creighton-Oregon game. Double overtime. That one was too late for me. Even though I had a weekend, Creighton doesn't mean I was staying up as late as some of these games went.
I watched that game. Creighton has a big. Creighton's a tough matchup. They play smart. That's going to be that's to me, Phil. That's a coin flip type of game. And then when you get Zaga and Purdue on in that other game right there, that's a coin flip as well.
How many Sweet 16s in a row now for Gonzaga?
Is it 10? Is it 10 in a row?
I think it's 10 in a row.
Double digits. Yeah, I think Houston's made 5 in a row. That's pretty good for Houston right there.
But if people would point to like Gonzaga, be like, well, they don't have the national championship. You're like, well, I'm sure you would trade a few of those Sweet 16 runs for the national championship, but that level of consistency in March is amazing. I mean, for the dominance that they've shown in that conference, and I don't remember if Gonzaga finished first or second because that was a 2-bid league this year with St. Mary's. That's one thing, but to consistently win always at least 2 games in March is pretty incredible. It's amazing for Izzo to get Michigan State to the tournament. What is it, 26 consecutive years? Mm-hmm. They haven't made the Sweet 16 every one of those years. They go 1 and out sometimes. This year it was 2 and out. To go to the Sweet 16 that often, and I look back and see all the teams that they've won, all the teams that they've defeated, but that says a lot about Mark Few as a coach. The lack of a national title doesn't really diminish him in my eyes. Making 10 Sweet 16s in a row is pretty incredible.
Well, last year Anthony Black was going to Gonzaga and then came to Arkansas. So that was a great get by Coach Muss last year. The thing that happened, Phil, was Auburn, Kentucky, and Florida all lost in the first. I mean, that Auburn L.
I don't get Auburn. I don't get.
It's like they didn't show up. It's like they didn't finish. It was. It's almost they expected if we roll the ball out there this first game, we're gonna win. All we got to do is show up.
They had themselves a great SEC tournament and just left it in Nashville, man. I don't get that at all. Yeah, it's the first round exits that just look really
Kentucky,
bad
Florida. Ugh.
1 or 2 of them, might
South Carolina as well. Yeah, I do think Oregon has the better talented team.
But Kentucky's got no business losing to Oakland. They really don't. As I don't care if they've got a 32-year-old CEO playing for Oakland, which they practically do in Golke. That can't happen. That can't happen. Auburn can't be losing to Yale in the first round after winning the SEC tournament, for crying out loud. That was a great run that Auburn had there. It's a terrible look for the SEC. But I also look, it's the Big East has. I don't remember the stat about this. This goes back to like the 2014 season in which the SEC was not known as a great basketball league. I think that year the SEC might have only gotten 3 teams in. I'd have to go back and double check. This might have been a stat about a league with 3 teams in the tournament, getting them all to the Sweet 16. The SEC in 2014, Matt, was not known as a great basketball league. That's when Mike Slive, I think, was still running the league, and they were talking about, you know what, we've got to do something to get basketball in this league to a higher level and started. I think it is at a much higher level now. But in 2014, you had 3 teams in the tournament. You had 3 teams making all the way to the Sweet 16. I don't remember if people in the SEC were, pointing to this team or that team that got left off the bubble and was playing in the NIT and saying, "See, there should have been more teams in the league then." The Big East is all over this. They're all over this. Part of it is because they're forgotten about being a power conference in college basketball, and they are. They definitely are. St. John's, Providence, Seton Hall. Did these teams deserve to get in? Well, they're going to rework net, it appears. And when the net ranking changes or however that works out, maybe that'll help get a few more of those teams in. I don't know. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts of the McLarty Daniel hotline. Ron in Springdale said at halftime Barkley was smoking a cigar. Auburn had the lead over Yale. And then yesterday he referred to Alabama as Alabama. Did you see this? He's given them congratulations for their win to move to the Sweet 16, beating Grand Canyon. And before ridiculing Grand Canyon for playing, I guess in Chuck's mind, a moronic brand of basketball, he referred to Alabama as Alabama University. That's an Auburn guy that knows what he's saying at that moment.
Grand Canyon, man, they space the floor and they let their guys penetrate. They run a it'd be a fun offense to run if you got some guys that can handle the ball. That's the thing. You have 3-4 guards that can go. Man, they would be tough. Yeah, 34-41 was the score at halftime. So it's not like they were up double digits or anything, but they were, 41-34. That's command. You got command of the game right there.
Halftime's brought to you by Crabtree RV Center in Alma, the dealership that has served you in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas for over 7 decades. Still at the junction of I-40 and I-49 in Alma, right beside the Cracker Barrel. You're thinking about adventures with your family this year? Well, Crabtree RV Center is going to make sure you get the best experience. Also, the service and parts department is down on site. Everything that you need in between your trips at Crabtree RV. CrabtreeRV.com for more information. Back to wrap up hour number 1 of Halftime in just a moment.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I would also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the Homestead Tax Credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify. The Homestead Tax Credit can save you up to $425 off of your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by Sebastian County Assessor and paid for by Amendment 79.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Got a pest? Call West. If you have pest or termite problems in your home, call West today and learn how their 50 years combined experience can help solve your problems with competitive pricing and quality services, all designed with your pets and children in mind. Call today and schedule your free estimate. They even offer Saturday services and long life attic pest control. Call 782-7291. West Termite and Pest Control, protecting your home health and peace of mind.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Hey, it's Ty Richardson for Papa's Pub and Pizzeria. I want to talk about their pizza today. The Goob Special with extra pepperoni and rib rub on top. The Parm Special with double mushroom and jalapenos. Don't forget about the bacon cheeseburger and everyone's favorite, the old trash can. Swing on by Papa's Pub and Pizzeria at 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith, or give them a call at 479-783-9941. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Well, I remember every little thing as if it happened only yesterday. Walking by the lake and there was not another car inside. And I never had a girl looking any better than you did. And all the kids at school, they were wishing they were me that night. But now I'm come on, guys. Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We got Will the Wolf Whitson in studio producing today, so I don't know whether or not C-Unit really enjoyed this as Spinal Tap. I guess we'll wait for him to be in the chair to produce tomorrow or the day after. I know he's got a remote that he's at today. Wolf, have you ever heard of This Is Spinal Tap?
No, I have not, so unfortunately.
You don't know what this movie is, so we can't get into a conversation with him about it, Matt. That's unfortunate.
Have you heard of Pop Star Never Stop Stopping?
Is that a movie or a song?
There you go.
There's your answer.
Enough said, right?
That is definitely your answer. So at some point, we've got to get the Wolf in on some of these halftime homework episodes because we're trying to educate C-Unit. He's 10 years older than Will is.
You've heard of One Direction?
Yes.
There you go.
Of course.
So that's it's a
well, that's
spoof.
where the line. That's where the line stops. That's where he starts teaching us. But yeah, that's
well, I was that was a little bit before my time. I'm also like a guy, so I wasn't like a big.
Define to me when, quote, your time, unquote, began.
My time. See,
I would say, like, Matt, what do you say? My time. I'm born in 1977.
He's a 06 baby, I think.
My time probably started at about 84. That's when I really start remembering.
See, I'm a 83 baby, so I'm about 92, 95, somewhere in there is where my pop culture starts, I guess,
Okay,
so to speak.
I started to get my consciousness at about like 4 or 5. That's when I can really remember a lot of stuff.
Wow, man, you remember a lot of stuff that I wouldn't. But then
Yeah.
again, maybe I did a few years ago. There have been a few reasons why I might forget things now.
Yeah,
Old
so
age, one of them.
So I want to say One Direction was
Not that you're into him. I'm just
No,
asking
no.
that you know him because that's
Yeah.
that's
He's
kind
got
of
posters
the
of him
spoof.
on the wall. Come on now, man.
Yeah. Is it Liam, Zayn, or Harry? Who do you like?
All three of them.
Yeah, there's no wrong answer. That's
I'll
right.
say Harry because Harry was the one. Isn't Harry the one that called the Hogs whenever he was here?
That's right. Yes,
He's the Timberlake.
Not only did he call the Hogs, but then he said that was fantastic.
Yeah, I'll go with Harry.
British accent there.
Yeah, he's the Justin Timberlake of the NSYNC. He was the one. That's right.
Nobody broke out from Backstreet Boys. Did you?
Nick Lachey had his Miller Lite thing. I mean, you called him "Pass Me a Nick Lachey." Like he whatever his marketing was right there.
He was more famous for who he married.
That's true. That they had they were one of the first ones to have that reality show going. He said, "Well, is it chicken of the sea or how is it tuna of the air? How does this work?"
Will, have you ever heard of New Kids on the Block?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah,
you've heard of New Kids on the Block. Okay, do you know any of their songs?
No.
Hanging Tough.
Maybe
we'll get a Hanging Tough on there.
Maybe if I heard them, I could recognize them.
I was going to say there's nothing wrong with not knowing any of their songs. It might be a good thing for you if you've never heard of any of their songs.
Yeah, I've heard of the band, never heard a song, I don't think.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch?
Will, have you ever heard of the Jackson 5, a small
group
that
of course.
spurned a few careers?
He underground band, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So it was just going down the ages here of the boy. But Will, have you ever heard of the Supremes?
Yes,
kind
actually.
of the precursor to Destiny's Child in many ways.
Gladys Knight and the Pips. I heard Denzel Washington was one of the Pips for a while. That's how he was started dancing a little bit for Gladys Knight.
I thought that was my nickname.
Well, PCP, that works as well.
That works too. Yeah, Pips and Joy as well. Red says Nick Lachey was 98 degrees.
See, I don't. Yeah, right. You said I think Jessica Simpson. Yeah, that's him.
I guess your understanding of things started at about 2002 then, right? If you don't know Nick Lachey was at 98 degrees.
What did I say? 96 degrees.
98.6 degrees, I think is what it was. Brandon says I'm more Milli Vanilli. Well, watch as I lip sync you into the break. Halftime right back after this.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's #1 mobile app for placing sports wagers.
In Arkansas, 7 out of every $10 placed on a sporting bet app is with Bet Saracen because Bet Saracen offers more ways to win and more ways to get paid and faster. Find your winners on Bet Saracen and look for my R prop bet specials. I pick them and you win them.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports wagering app.
Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700.
Flu vaccines, both regular and high dose for seniors, are now available at Law's Drug Store in Fort Smith. Call 452-6116 to schedule your shot appointment. Usually there is no cost when covered by your insurance. Law's Drug has COVID vaccines, RSV vaccines for ages 60 plus. Pneumonia and tetanus shots are also available. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Walk-Ons is always a win. Whether it's a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner, Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and coming soon to Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, moderate to heavy rain is possible. We'll see an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain just today with occasional showers and thunderstorms with heavy downpours. Our high today, low to mid 60s. We'll start to dry things out tonight. And overnight, low mid to upper 30s. Partly sunny and cooler. Highs near 50 north, upper 50 south. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits.
Good station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios.
Streaming on hitthatline.com. We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that would respect it. If I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Well, take it to the house. The dunk.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's Halftime with Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. My heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
But they were one Razorback.
Second half, very happy.
It's vintage Matt Jones.
1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Welcome into hour number 2, halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson with Matt Jones. Got the Wolf, Will Whitson producing. We'll have Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation in about 15 minutes. Calls and texts come in on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Got a text in here, Ben in Fayetteville asking, and this is a question that you've seen throughout social media recently about whether or not should still be the coach at the University of Arkansas. Ben pointing to a 47-42 SEC record, wondering if Muss should be worth the money. 11th highest paid coach in the NCAA, biggest home loss in Bud Walton, 2 winning SEC seasons, no Arkansas players on the roster. That to me feels more like a forward-looking text and a forward-looking opinion that it's not a program that's going to have any more success in March, which is, I guess, what college basketball more or less is supposed to be about. Like, what if Arkansas was in the position that Auburn is in right now, winning an SEC tournament and then going 1-out, or Kentucky having the sort of season that they had this year, in which it looked like they had the stuff to win a national title, go 1-out. Those are all teams that had great SEC seasons. One of them won a tournament. I guess it's a matter of where does the success lie and what success is it that you remember too. And look, I view it differently from like the baseball conversation with Dave Van Horn, because there normally is postseason success in getting to the College World Series. Last year, obviously, it didn't happen. Didn't advance out of your first out of your regional, but that's also not the track record of the program. There's usually postseason success that goes along with regular season success. And Matt, I mean, I don't sit here and turn this into a conversation of what success would you rather have. Regular, you want to be 4 games over in the SEC and then go 1-out or 2-out, or does the postseason success seem to matter a little bit more? And I think that's what it's about. That's what they raise in the rafters. You can win an SEC championship, win an SEC tournament, they'll raise that in the rafters. But it's the Elite Eight, it's the Sweet 16s, and I think in everybody's mindset, eventually, hopefully, a Final Four and playing for a national title that's at the front of your mind. And the trust that he puts a talented roster together that doesn't flop the way that this one did. I don't look at the regular season from 2 years ago as a flop, because I think there was a lot of youth there that eventually did show itself in the tournament, and then the injury to Nick Smith. But, I mean, it's a valid point. It is a valid point. I think Muss is a better coach than 5 games over 500 in the SEC, but you also are what your record says. But if that's true, your record also says you're a pretty good coach in March.
Yeah, I think Coach Muss is a top 20 coach in college basketball. I think we're lucky to have him. This year, as a competitor, being raised by a coach, playing at the highest level, it's not easy to get there. It's not easy to stay there. You got to work at it. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And I bet you, every time you lose, Phil, man, it's just a bad day. It's a bad week. You're competing. You're trying to win. I think he'll try to figure it out. I think this Arkansas basketball team would be better next year. You have some nice pieces coming back, man. I think you could have the leading scorer in the SEC, if not a top 5 scorer. But what does that translate to? It translated to 2-4 in that 6-game stretch when Battle was dominating. Got to get an inside presence. That's the other thing about this team. Anytime that we just got pushed around too much, got pushed around, made us like it. And you brought that up, that worst home loss in the history of Bud Walton. So yeah, his name's attached to that. No question about it. But the Elite Eights, the Sweet 16s, this year was just it was a down year. And I think the only way you answer that question, Phil, would be, let's say we did this again next year. Let's say we go 1 game under 500 next year. Then
don't make March. If you don't make March Madness, now you're talking about 2 years in a row. Now there's a problem.
Then you got to have a different type of sit down.
It is the same coach that went 26-9 in the SEC and made the Elite Eight 2 years in a row. So, those seasons also do stand for themselves. But, you can also point to seeing success in the league under Mike Anderson and not winning enough games in March to stick around as the head coach any longer. So you just haven't had both of those in the last 2 years. That's all. The Elite Eight teams, they won 13 SEC games. Those are 2 seasons worth.
That should tell you a little bit. That tells you how good you are. You got a little talent on those teams. You have some NBA guys on your roster. This team was lacking with talent. You got to go out there and get it. Now, I do think we're falling behind. I think it's a big misstep in the program's culture and the program's history and what you're trying to do to shut out the Arkansas and to shut out the in-state kids. I do not understand how you do not embrace that there's talent. I'm not, and that's the other thing. It's not like I'm like, you should take an in-state kid, but he's not good enough. No, they are good enough. They go off and compete and play at other colleges and contribute. And to keep losing your in-state talent.
Yeah,
I think that's tough, Phil. You got to remember Arkansas, man. Embrace the state.
And I just don't know if that changes for next year. Unless you get to convince. I haven't scoured the portal long enough to know, what the situation is as far as kids that are from Arkansas that are in the portal from other programs. Are those the ones you go to look for just because they're from Arkansas? They got to be really good. They got to play here. They got to play, and they got to play well here. And it's not like your incoming class is filled with Arkansans either. So I don't know if that changes this next year. Hopefully the wins and the losses do change quite a bit. Take a call from Charlie on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Charlie, what's going on today?
What's up, guys? Matt, I'm with you, man. The thing that probably frustrates me the most about social media is, before this year, there was no way we were even close to having this conversation. It's like one bad season or something. And look, I get it. Everybody, you can't please everyone, and there's certain people that, are not going to be happy either way. Phil, I will say for me personally, I would rather have this success in March and be playing your best ball towards the end of the year. And I understand, 47 and 42 in the SEC, maybe, not up to our standard. But, guys, it's not like there are a bunch of Coach K's out there growing on trees. This guy's the top coach in college basketball. We're not going to let him go. That's what people don't understand. I think people think we're just going to let him go. Some people, not you guys, but Muss is just going to go, and we're just going to go grab somebody, and he's going to be better. And I just don't see that personally. But anyway.
Well, look, Charlie, he's not a perfect coach. None of these have been perfect teams.
Nobody
It's the same with the baseball team. There is always going to be a fly in the ointment. Always.
Yep.
Unless you win the national championship, there's always a fly in the ointment. And that's okay. They understand that too.
Absolutely. You're right, Phil. There's I think the thing that Muss is great at is preparation. That's what makes him good, between games. Like, if he had that Kentucky team the other day, this is just my personal opinion. I think Cal is a good coach, but I don't think they lose that game the other day against that team just because of the preparation standpoint. I don't know if Cal, that's maybe not his strength per se. But anyway, as far as this baseball team goes, Phil, everybody's kind of up and on. Look, they lost one game. They played a great series. I mean, on the road at Auburn, who was, in my opinion, a really talented team. And, they got some talent, even though they're one and whatever they are in the SEC. To win 2 out of 3 on the road, eventually adversity was going to happen. I want to see how they respond, and I think they will respond. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Good to hear from you. I think it's a team that does respond for the most part, because if you talk about like an answer back inning, Auburn scored in 7 innings this last week. The Razorbacks scored in the next half inning 5 times. That's an answer back team. That's a team that I think can respond. But how do you respond after blowing a 4-run lead on the road in the 6th inning? Well, we'll find out tomorrow, and I think you find out more starting Thursday against LSU. 877-377-6963 when you want to get in with us on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Hey, it is making your plans for fishing very soon. Make sure you got the Bobby Garland Baby Shad with you. It's the #1 volume lure made by Pradco out of the 20 fishing brands. And the Bobby Garland Baby Shad is made by the Millions in Fort Smith. It's the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the United States. You fish it on a light jig head or underneath the float, you'll find it's productive as live bait. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad, you can find it at Lurnet.com and tackle stores all over the place. Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation next on Halftime.
Will your bracket be better than Matt Jones, Derek Ruskin, and the rest of the ESPN Arkansas team? Then prove it. Sign up for the HitThatLine.com Bracket Challenge presented by On the Mark Sports Bar and Grill in Fayetteville, 810 Billiards and Bowling in Fort Smith, and Shelter Insurance agent Chris Dooley. Registration is easy. Just find the contest on HitThatLine.com. The HitThatLine.com Bracket Challenge is also brought to you in part by Walk On Sports Bistro, Century Bank of the Ozarks, Cafe Conchisme, Links at Chaffee Crossing, and Foghorns Wings.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family, from general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Davis, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Now offering same-day crowns. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com. 0.9% financing on a new 23 or 24 GMC Sierra at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Save up to $6,500 off with factory rebates on a new GMC Sierra truck, or take $3,750 off with 0.9% financing or 2.9% financing for up to 72 months on Sierra 1500. 6.2-liter engine excluded. Conquer with confidence in a new GMC Sierra from Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
There's more to a tractor than just horsepower. A tractor also needs weight to get that horsepower to the ground. With TYM, a heavier tractor comes standard. Many of the TYM models weigh more for the horsepower than comparable tractors from the big names, and tractors that weigh more do more. See Bush Tractor at their new location at 6100 South Zero in Fort Smith, or log on to bushtractor.com to see how they can upgrade your productivity.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Are you tired of the overcrowded fitness centers? Would you like a fitness option where you can actually work out? Then let's hang out. The Hangout is Fort Smith's newest fitness facility. It has an 8,000 square foot gym, indoor tennis, pickleball, and basketball, with more sports coming soon. The Hangout offers group and individual training in the gym and boasts 3 active tennis pros to help you grow your game. Stop in today at 5400 Gary Street or thehangoutfs.com for more information. Be a part of something different. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith.
As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Get ready to call the Hogs in 2024 and be there for the best home schedule in program history. Don't miss out on all you love about football game days on the Hill. Every voice matters, and we need Razorback Stadium rocking all season long from marquee matchups against Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, and longtime rival and new SEC foe, the Texas Longhorns. For more information about Razorback football tickets, visit ArkansasRazorbacks.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All guests join us on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, and that's where we have Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation here on a Monday afternoon. I was going to say good morning after I said good afternoon there. Mike, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Good, man. I'm still screwed up from actually having a weekend. We got into a conversation last segment about Muss as the Arkansas head coach. And, you know, I think most fans are of the opinion that they would like him to remain the coach here. There is a vocal minority that would rather not. And they point to, just not having a great SEC record. But I see two 13-win seasons in the SEC. Those two teams went to the Elite Eight. This last, the season before, not great in the regular season, still won 2 games in the postseason, which was nice. This year, we're hoping it's a one-off. And I think this program, I think most of the fans would like Muss to remain as the head coach. And the further we go into this offseason, the more I still think he's going to be the head coach moving forward.
Yeah, I got into a little back and forth on X about this with some of the fans, and it really started with, I just made the observation that Bruce Pearl said, hey, we're going to win 9 straight playoff games, and he came up 6 short, which is accurate. I was trying to point out the difference between winning a conference tournament and the NCAA tournament, because you have to do a total reset, and they clearly didn't do it. But somebody popped off and said, yeah, but they still beat Arkansas by 30, and I pointed out, and they ended up with the same number of NCAA tournament wins as Arkansas, 0. And that devolved into you're defending Muss, you're trying to protect him, you're doing what the athletic department's telling you to do, all that nonsense. And some guy said, you're just making excuses for him. And I said, what excuse does he need? From 2004 to 2019, a 15-year period, Arkansas won 3 NCAA tournament games. 3. And in 3 years, Musselman managed to win 8 in 3 years. He more than doubled that number. So what excuse does he need? And then it devolved into some of these fans saying, well, there's no trophies. Haven't won the SEC, haven't won a conference tournament. I'm like, what? And it just stunned me that there apparently are at least some fans out there that would rather see that than success in the NCAA tournament, which to me is insane. The NCAA tournament is what college basketball is all about. The farther you go, the better you are. And I think most Arkansas fans agree with that, but apparently a few don't. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I still hear stuff. He's going to decide between Louisville and SMU. He has his choice and blah, blah, blah. I don't have sources that are telling me he's gone, but that doesn't mean he's not. But I do think it would put Arkansas in a bind if he left. Absolutely.
I would have a heck of a lot of trouble believing that he'd leave for SMU. Louisville, I view differently. They've won national titles there. They have a real fan base. They're not being welcomed into a league just because of their geography. I don't buy SMU. They have all the money in the world. They have no fans, and it's just not. To me, it doesn't have any sort of gravitas to it. Money or not, ACC or not, I don't buy that.
And I don't know. I'm not going to say it couldn't happen because I don't know. My basic instinct sitting here right now is he's not going anywhere, but it does bother me that nobody's talking. I would think somebody at some point, and somebody said to me last night, well, he didn't talk for 2 or 3 weeks after the end of the season last year. He's busy recruiting, and I'm going, yeah, but you didn't have all this talk. And so the issue becomes, do you have to respond when it's all over the place that you may be leaving? And I understand what some people are saying. You don't owe anybody anything, but maybe you do. Just let the fans, who most of them are very supportive, let them know, hey, no, I'm not going anywhere.
What about the one side? Now, I'm very thankful Coach Muss is our coach. I like Coach Muss. I think he's getting it done. It's just a down year. But what about the talk about no Arkansas kids up there and having some Arkansas guys and kind of, I don't know that you're turning your back on the state, but there doesn't seem to be like he's embracing the state, and it's kind of hard if you're going to go out and ask for money and do things like that, and you have no Arkansas kids on the roster.
Yeah, that's a legitimate criticism. It's something I certainly think is worth talking about, because he's had several come in and then they're like gone. And some of them have gone on to play well at other places. And it's almost like he doesn't share that view that so many other coaches have, that you need to have at least a kind of a base of Arkansas players that you can fall back on. Most programs, I don't care what sport you're talking about, they may not be overrun with Arkansas kids, but you've had Devo for all this time. Well, do you need another one? And a lot of people are upset that Blocker left, because they're saying, hey, he's going to, in time, he's going to be a great player. And the other complaint is that Muss doesn't develop anybody. He just brings in talent and lets them win. And I just think the attitude of most fans is, he gets you into the tournament. He gets you deep into the tournament. This year is kind of a one-time thing, and so I don't think they think these are major issues.
I also
doesn't develop talent. Doesn't develop talent. I saw 4 guys off last year's team that are in the NBA right now.
Hey, Mikael Mitchell, he got better as the year went on.
Yeah, I think what they're saying is he doesn't bring in a freshman and give them time to develop. If they don't immediately do something, it's like, okay, go away, and I'm bringing in another one. But your point is accurate in that the players that have been here and have played have gone on and done very well. But there's just this thing: he doesn't want to take a freshman and turn him into a sophomore and a junior. It's not the process fans are familiar with. But that's just this whole portal thing. I mean, Mike Neighbors just got through having a press conference last week where he said, my biggest problem is I've been trying to recruit freshmen and develop them, and I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to go to the portal because that's what everybody else is doing. It's a quicker fix. It's an easier fix, and I'm going to do it now. So I can't hardly fault him for that approach.
Hey, Mike, as far as how the tournament's going, who you still think UConn? Who do you think is going to win it after watching this opening weekend?
Well, I think the way Houston survived what could have been a disaster with A&M, I think that may – sometimes when you get shocked like that, gee whiz, those guys were up 8 with 1:14 left, and then they just – a series of screw-ups. They had a free throw they missed. They had a turnover. Aggies hit a couple of threes, and so they end up going into overtime on a shot with a second left. But then they reset and pretty much were – I don't think they were seriously threatened in overtime. So sometimes when you survive that, and that could have been the one upset. This is a rare year, guys, where the 1 and 2 seeds from all 4 regions are in the Sweet 16. That almost never happens. So there have been upsets, but not to the top teams. And to me, it makes where we're going from here on more interesting. So I might go with them. I've always liked Kelvin Sampson. I thought they took what could have been a disaster and reset themselves in overtime, and now they're still playing.
What do you think about only two SEC teams that have made it to the Sweet 16? Big 12 has two. ACC's got three. Big East has three in there. It's more the first round losses than anything else. That's just an awful look for this league. And I mean, South Carolina losing Oregon, that's one thing. That's a hot Oregon team that won their conference championship. But Kentucky shouldn't be losing. Auburn should not have lost. There were some real bad showings out there. It's first-round losses more than anything that look really bad for a league.
Yeah, I noticed that Bruce Pearl today apologized, or maybe he did that. I just read about it today and apologized for him for not, he said, we were the SEC tournament champions. We should have played better. But that was part of the problem, guys. I'm not surprised by that loss. It is the process that you go through to win your conference tournament is like a mini NCAA tournament. You just do it half the games in 3 days, and then you hey man, we've done this, and you kind of sit back, and then you have to come down from that, and then you got to do a total reset. And most of the time, it's going to be against a 14 or a 13 seed, and no matter what you say, your players are not going to walk into that game going, "Oh, we better watch out." And they weren't really in trouble until about midway through the second half, and they never got down big. It went nuts for them at the end. They really had a chance to win it. I mean, under the basket, they missed a layup that could have tied the game. They had a block shot. They got another rebound, kicked it out, shot a three that didn't go. And, I mean, you lose. I mean, I wasn't shocked by that. That's all I'm saying. The Kentucky loss surprised me because they had it all set up. They beat Alabama, Mississippi State on the road. They beat Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and Tennessee on the road. They had all this momentum going into the tournament. Okay, fine. You lose in the first round of the SEC tournament to the Aggies. Big deal. I don't care about that. Just go home and reset and get ready to go. And what do? They have one thing they have to do. They're going up against a team that has great three-point shooters, one in particular, and what do? They let that team shoot 48% from three-point range, and they get beat. And they also got out-rebounded. That's why people are so mad at Calipari right now. It's like he didn't really prepare them for this game.
That was an egg. I was surprised as far as the SEC going 2-6, as far as two teams making it to this second weekend. That was surprising to me.
Yeah, I thought they'd do better than that. South Carolina, I just felt all year long they were probably underrated. I was real impressed with them, but toward the end of the year they started having a few problems. But he's got that program going. I think they're a good team. It just happens. I don't know. We did it. We're fixing to do a program the night before the Final Four this year, where we go and do a reflective back on the '94 championship team. We're talking to Nolan. We're talking to Scotty Thurman. We're talking to Big Nasty. We're talking to the trainer on that team because he was such a big, important part of that. And one of the things when you sit down and you examine every one of those games is you start to understand how hard it is to win a national championship, because each one of those games takes on a life of their own, and you have to reset after every one of those games. You can't just there's no momentum baloney. It starts all over again because, as Corey Beck told me years ago, he said every time you step on the floor with some other team in the NCAA tournament, it's do or die. They know their season's over if they lose, and they will commit suicide almost not to let you beat them. They will play better than you think they can play, and you have to do that too. And it just takes so much to win it all. So many good teams. You could just year by year you could go look at the tournament and teams that didn't win it, that could have won it or should have won it or whatever, and it just takes a very special set of circumstances to win that whole thing.
Hey, Mike, now that you mentioned that, I went back and looked. Today is the 30th anniversary of the Sweet 16 victory in that tournament over Tulsa. What do you remember much out of that game?
Well, I remember that the first Tulsa game was close, and so they came back and I thought they pretty much dominated in that game. They were, of course, it helps. One thing that helped that team, they played in Oklahoma City, Dallas, for those first 2 rounds, and I think that you had a lot of fans in both places. The one that impressed me was the one after that with Michigan, because Michigan had that reputation at that time, and you're thinking, whoa, I don't know, these are pretty much, these are some bad boys you're going up against. But there were games when they played half court, games when they played up tempo, games when they played their typical defense to create offense, games when they said, no, we can sit back and rebound with you and play. That team was built to play any style of basketball it had to play.
Mike, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you hopping on as always. Thank you so much, and we'll reconvene on Monday next week, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
It's Mike Irwin, Pig Trail Nation. All guests join us on the McLarty Daniel hotline, and you can do the same if you want to call 877-377-6963. International Whiskey Day is coming up on Wednesday. That sounds like a lot of fun. Pick out something from Grandpa's stash at Twin Peaks and Rogers to celebrate International Whiskey Day. And it's also where you can get yourself great food, great drinks, 29-degree draft beer made from scratch fan favorites. And, of course, they'll have basketball or baseball right now blasting from every single angle. That's Twin Peaks in Rogers, or you can get the ultimate experience to go online at twinpeaksrestaurant.com. They'll do delivery. They'll do pickup as well. More TVs, bigger screens, and scenic views. More to watch at Twin Peaks. Halftime is back in just a moment.
You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
It's Ram Truck Month, and at Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer, we got Ram 1-ton, 3/4 ton, and Ram 1500. And at Red River, nobody has a better selection. 0% for 72 months on all 24 model Bighorn. And up to $15,000 off heavy duty. And the largest selection in the state. Make a beautiful drive to Heber Springs, or check us out on the web at redriverdodge.com. And remember, at Red River, we deliver. God bless.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
This is Halftime.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. How about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When you need legal help, turn to the law offices of Craig L. Cook. With over 40 years combined experience, the Cook Law Team works for you. If you've been injured in an auto accident, hurt on the job, a victim of nursing home negligence, or need help with bankruptcy, Social Security, wills, trusts, estates, or family law issues, Craig Cook will go to work for you. Call us today, 479-783-8000. The law offices of Craig L. Cook, with locations in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We work for working people.
If you've lived in the River Valley for a while, you know about the great reputation of Jam Mart. And their newest location at 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith is open. Stop by for coffee, gas, beer, snacks, ices, and a clean restroom every time. Don't forget about the hot deli and fresh-made burgers. Now 7 locations in Fort Smith, Greenwood, Boonville, Ozark, and Danville. Sign up for their loyalty program for discounts throughout the stores. Jam Mart, the leading convenience store and gas station in the region. region.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They're open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics. Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With the never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call your local Shelter agent, Chris Dooley, at 479-646-6792. Do you need an oil change but don't have time to drop off your car? S&J Express Lube will let you sit in your car while they do the work, and it only takes about 15 minutes with no appointment needed. Prices start at $35.99 for a 20-point inspection service. S&J Express Lube is open Monday through Friday 9 till 6 and Saturdays 8 till noon. You'll find them at 14818 Highway 71 South in Jenny Lind. Check them out on Facebook too. S&J Express Lube, your authorized Castrol dealer in Sebastian County. They are waiting on you now.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Back on halftime here. I was looking back. I think I'd mentioned this last week with Arkansas beating Auburn 2 out of 3. The Hogs have now won, here's my note here, 16 of the last 19 series against West Division teams. That goes back to the start of the 2021 season. If you go back to 2018, they've won 19 of 24 series in the SEC. In fact, they've got 33 more wins than losses against SEC West teams since 2018, 63 wins and 30 defeats. And you almost had a sweep against Auburn this last time. Now you play in LSU, a team, well, you play Little Rock first. This and by the way, tomorrow's a 3 o'clock game. That's been changed from 6:30. That decision, well, I don't know about the decision, but the announcement came out, it was right as I was finished recording Bases Loaded, so that would be 10:30, so it's still pretty fresh. Guess it's supposed to be about 38, 39 degrees at some point tomorrow night. So it's one thing I love about college baseball. You can move a start time up, especially if it's not on linear television. These games with Little Rock are usually pretty crazy. Hogs are 4-2 all time against the Trojans. Listen to the scores of these games. The closest score, 7-2, an Arkansas win. The Hogs have won games 10-3, 16-8, and 21-5. They've lost 11-4 and 17-7. So there's usually about an 8 to 9 run difference in a win or a loss in the 6 games between these two teams. And Little Rock's blown Arkansas out twice. So, and it's a different looking team this year, and I guess we're waiting to find out who's going to pitch for the Razorbacks. I think I expect that you may see Hunter Dietz and or Ben Bybee at some point tomorrow. Now, David mentioned after Saturday's loss that there are a couple of pitchers. He didn't say names, but there are a couple of pitchers that they're hoping to throw this weekend against LSU if they look good against Little Rock. So that to me would be Bybee and Dietz. So that's certainly something to look forward to tomorrow. And Matt won't have to freeze my butt off, which I'm always excited if I don't have to freeze.
Yeah, let's go baseball. So the Trojans, when's the last time they've made it to Omaha or made it to a regional? Are they?
Never.
Do they don't? Okay.
I don't know if they've ever made it. I don't know if Little Rock's ever.
Who's the
if they've
second?
made it to the NCAA tournament in a long, long time.
Who's the second best baseball school in the state of Arkansas? Arkansas is one. Who is the second best? Is UCA?
I don't know all the records right now, but
Okay.
I would put A-State's had some
and I don't mean this year. Like, hey,
Overall.
I mean, yeah, just who in general is the second? I thought UALR was supposed to be the second best team in the state.
It might be UCA.
UCA,
really. I mean, if you're looking at any sort of success in the postseason, now those teams have been in different leagues. The Sun Belt was really tough for Little Rock to get out of. I think the OVC is more their speed. But I think they were picked to win the Ohio Valley Conference. So Coach Curry's got a pretty good team, and they do have good teams in that league. Murray State's come out of that league before. I think they moved to the Missouri Valley Conference, but it's tough to keep up with all of that. And then LSU comes in, and I think this is a team that Arkansas should be able to score against. Now, they've got a Friday night ace, it's a Thursday series that starts. So Thursday's game could be low scoring again. So the pitcher that they'll throw Thursday, Matt, is the same pitcher that was the Alabama ace last year, who was scratched because of the tight back, and the coach Bohannon used that information to tell his buddies that you ought to put some money on that. And then he transferred to LSU. That's who's pitching at Palm Walker Thursday.
Don't know if you've ever had a strained oblique, but it sounds like that might have been.
Never had a strained oblique. That was hilarious. For those who weren't listening Friday, that was Aaron Torres,
It was
right?
Tyler, the point guard from Marquette, had a
Yeah.
strained oblique. Yeah.
Never know if you've ever had a strained oblique, Matt. Usually it's, Matt, you know this better than others. So he should have just started it with that. You've had a strained oblique, right?
Oh yeah, they're no fun. Any type of back tightness, any type of things like that. It's I always one of the most famous ones I think of, Phil, was Scottie Pippen when the Bulls were beating the Jazz when Jordan pushed off, but Pippen had a bad back that series. Like, and all of a sudden he went up and dunked one and it just catches wrong, and then you're done. There's just nothing you can do about it. So you got to try to keep it as loose as you can.
Oblique is defined as nearly parallel nor a right angle to a specified or implied line. I guess that must have something to do with the way that the muscle connects to you.
Connected to your upper dorsimus.
Of course.
Yeah. Your
Is
lateral
that really-
sizemire.
I don't know if you're using real terminology or not. The Sizemire, now I don't think that's a real thing. That's an
you're-
actor. That was an actor, Tom Sizemire.
Yeah, your lateral, whatever it is. Yeah, and you know the dentist lingo.
Yes, I do. I would know some of that stuff, but I haven't worried about a ball player getting TMJ before. Worried about the oblique muscle for a hitter who can't swing the bat properly. That did crack me up, though. For those who you don't always get a chance to see the look on Matt Jones's face, but that was a moment you wanted to see the look on his face. Jake B said, UALR played Oregon State in the regional in 2011, won the Sun Belt tournament as the last seed. I remember that year.
Last team out of the state of Arkansas, other than the Razorbacks, to make the tournament.
Well, I think UCA made one after that. I don't remember the year. It might have been 14 or 15, and they went to the regional final. I think that was in Starkville against Mississippi State. So, but I think it's been a while for Arkansas State. So if I were going to layer the teams in the state, Division I teams, Arkansas, then I think UCA, then Little Rock, then Arkansas State, and then UAPB. And the Hogs play all of them this year, every last one of them this year. Cody from Lavaca thinks 9 of the top 25 teams are SEC. You're probably right, but I haven't looked in the rankings. Hagen Smith, by the way, is the SEC pitcher of the week again. Sometime soon they'll just rename the award after.
How worried are you with anything that he just shuts down because he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft?
It's not in him. I don't think that's in him.
I mean,
I don't think you see a lot of baseball players that do that.
Yeah. Well, as long as the season's going well, but if
Yes.
maybe if it was a totally different reversal and it wasn't going as well,
Not a
but
matter of like a shutdown, but it's if the season were to go in the wrong direction, then I think you get guys that kind of are thinking about their draft status.
You gotta
in
protect
front
yourself.
of the team's record
Mhm.
and how they're performing. They're just more worried about how did I look in this at bat instead of how did this affect the game that we're playing right now. But I don't see that with this. And certainly not with Hagen Smith, because this is somebody that's just been really selfless in how he has allowed the coaches to move his role, as a starter as a freshman that came out of the bullpen at times, and then as starter as a sophomore who then was moved into the bullpen in SEC play only to come back and start again. And now this year it's just I feel like you've seen the fruits of his patience, how the coaches have coached him, and all the hard work that he puts into it. I mean, that's the other thing about Hagen Smith that nobody sees is the amazing amount of work that he's gone into fine-tuning his command, which more than anything, that's what stands out about Hagen this year. He just commands his stuff that much better. He is throwing harder. He's got an extra pitch he's added in with the splitter, but he just commands it so much better. That's all work. Now, the 2 other starters, you may need some more innings out of them. Brady Tygart hasn't thrown a full 5 innings in 3 starts. Mason Molina hasn't really gotten into the 6th inning too much. So if you worry about taxing the bullpen, that's where it might get taxed. But then I think it's a matter of, hopefully Tygart gets to 5 innings. Then it's a matter of needing 8 innings from your bullpen the last 2 days of a series. And I think Tygart, they'll clean up whatever this mechanical issue is. And with Molina, it's just working so deep into the count that I think they're a little worried about him facing a lineup a 3rd time because they see so many pitches the 2 times through the batting order. But it almost feels a little nitpicky because they've been pretty good up until here. But that might be an Achilles heel.
Right. Who's our 4th starter? Is it Fisher? Is it the true freshman? Do you think he's our 4th starter?
See, now that's the thing about moving forward that this week really means something because Fisher, I think they're viewing him as a starter, but also somebody that they really like in relief. He pitched well in Saturday's game, even though he allowed that go-ahead home run by Auburn. He shut him down after that, and I think he has started a few games. He's looked really good doing it. But Bybee coming back this week, that's somebody that also would get some Tuesday starts. Now, the next couple of weeks, you've got Tuesday and Wednesday games. So you need midweek starters in 2 of those games. Well, not next week, but the week after. So at some point, I would be surprised if both of those guys don't start a game midweek and then end up pitching on the weekend because they do have that kind of stuff. And maybe Hunter Dietz, if he looks really good this week, maybe he's a guy that gets a chance to start. But I also, the way I look at this last series, Arkansas winning 2 out of 3 against Auburn, they blew the lead on Saturday, but 2 out of 3 against an SEC team will always work. And if it's a regional and you win your first 2 games, well, then you really have everybody else in the field at a huge disadvantage. And if you win the first 2 games of a super regional, there is no 3rd game. This is a really difficult team to beat twice in a weekend. Will it happen at some point in the regular season? I'd be surprised if it doesn't, just because that's baseball and teams lose. But I think they're going to be incredibly difficult to beat twice in a weekend. And this weekend was also, we saw why. It's a team that fights. They fought on Friday. That game was crazy. They didn't get the greatest start from Brady Tygart. They trailed 3 different times. Matt pushed all the right buttons, and they end up with a 6-5 win. I thought that win said a lot about this ball club. They're going to be really difficult to beat twice in a weekend this year. 877-377-6963 when you want to get with halftime. That's a McLarty Daniel hotline. Back to wrap up hour number 2 in just a moment.
Flu vaccines, both regular and high dose for seniors, are now available at Law's Drugstore in Fort Smith. Call 452-6116 to schedule your shot appointment. Usually there is no cost when covered by your insurance. Law's Drug has COVID vaccines, RSV vaccines for ages 60 plus. Pneumonia and tetanus shots are also available. Law's Drugstore, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
At A&P Auto Sales, we take pride in the way we do business. We focus 100% on our customers and believe car buying should be a fun, hassle-free experience. We will work with your budget and offer a dependable car at a price you can afford. Bank financing is available with approved credit, or cash is always accepted. Hop on over to 1202 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren and choose from a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Contact us today at 353-1246 or check us out online at apautosales.net. Find your next car at A&P Auto Sales in Van Buren.
The best Tex-Mex and even better service is at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Every Friday is Fajita Friday, featuring their charbroiled steak and chicken. It's tender, full of flavor, and comes with all the fixings. Saturdays are for endless enchiladas with Joe's homemade enchilada sauce and all the beef, chicken, or cheese enchiladas you can eat. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. West Ark Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact West Ark Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drain, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. West Ark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call West Ark Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
Dozy Place has now been serving award-winning steaks for over 20 years. Celebrate your special birthday, holiday, person, or just because at Dozy Place. Start with delicious appetizers and your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Dozy Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Reservations are recommended, so call 784-9111. 784-9111 for Dozy Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith.
When Cynthia came to TurboTax, she had just launched her new side gig, a true crime podcast.
I'm a first-rate detective with a golden voice.
As her TurboTax expert, I made her second income count by guaranteeing 100% accurate filing and her maximum refund.
What did she do with that refund? Find out next week.
Switch to Intuit TurboTax and make your moves count. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
By a jumbo jet. It wasn't easy, but nothing is. No.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We got off on a boy band tangent, wrapping up hour number one. It's kind of ask with Wolf, who's in studio here, whose consciousness, he was born in 2006, but I think his consciousness really began about
2004. 2004 was when I was
That's
born.
when you were born. So your consciousness then began about 2010, I think. Even
Yeah,
though you
close to
say it
that,
was
yeah.
at age 4. I don't know if I believe you.
I don't know. I
Here
can
was-
remember a little bit back then, but not
When
a
I
lot.
say the phrase Spice Girls, what does that mean to you?
David Beckham.
Somebody blew up off of Spice Girls. Did they not?
Nobody blew up off of Spice Girls. One of them tried to, and it didn't work in her favor. That was the lead singer. That was Ginger Spice. Outside of that, it's exactly what Matt just said. David Beckham.
I don't even.
Posh Spice married David Beckham.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But you knew that already. Have you heard of Boys to Men?
Yes. Some classics.
Motown Philly back again?
Yes. I
You know
that.
that song?
I know it. Yes.
So you know a little East Coast swing. You
I
know
know
some
a
New
little
Jack
bit.
City. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's not so bad. That's called classic rap, I guess.
Phil,
Must be.
we were talking a little bit about Arkansans, and Corey Beck and Dwight Stewart were both from Memphis, Tennessee on that 94.
Can that count?
It's pretty close. You had Reggie Merritt from Little Rock, Arkansas. That's what is going down. You had Ken Biley from Pine Bluff. We all know where the Big Nasty's from. So there would have been 3 guys, and then you got a couple from, a lot of guys from Texas in Tennessee. Clint McDaniel was from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Well, it's from cities that you would say, all right, close enough. Not quite over the border, but close
Memphis
enough-ish.
Memphis is such a great bed for basketball talent. I mean, talent in general. But you want to, and I guess it's not so much regional now, Phil. In '94, you had to recruit regional, I think, a little more. I think now with the interweb and it doesn't matter where you find guys from. But when you're closer in proximity, I do think you have a less chance of homesickness. You feel there's a little comfortability about it.
I wonder if I'd have to go back and look at all the rosters. Like, how many teams at Arkansas, meaning men's basketball, because that's what this conversation's around. How many Arkansas men's basketball teams have never had an Arkansan on the team? Because that's where you're trending next year. At least guys that get playing time. Because Blake Lawson's not
Your
getting
top
playing
8 guys. How many times in your top 8 do you not have somebody from the state of Arkansas? I'd wonder how many times that's happened, and how many times have you had success when your team's like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just to look them up, and these are bigger states, so I know it doesn't mean the same thing. Tennessee has 1 player from Tennessee, Grant Hurst. Alabama, only Mark Sears is from Alabama.
But he's their guy.
But he's
their guy.
Guy can't be stopped. What is it, 8 or 9 games in a row, 20 points or more?
Cookie jar. I mean, he's going to get a deal with Chips Ahoy. I mean, you talk about NIL, his mama's out there saying, put your hand in the cookie jar.
He didn't even start. I think he transferred to Alabama too.
Matt, is that the chewy Chips Ahoy's or the real one?
I don't know what these kids these days are on, but Sears is a guy I think that's a lot like a Corey Beck, just a really high-level college basketball player.
877-377-6963 calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline. We're back for hour number 3 of halftime in just a moment.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. If you're going to do some cold water bass fishing, you need to be using a Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. It's the best lure for duplicating a small school of shad and can be worked from the top of the water column to the bottom. Whether you're trying to win a bass tournament or whoop up on a bunch of white bass and stripers, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. will catch them. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Umbrella Flash Mob Jr.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I would also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the Homestead Tax Credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify. The Homestead Tax Credit can save you up to $425 off of your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by Sebastian County Assessor and paid for by Amendment Limit 79.
Hey, River Valley, this is Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Y'all have eclipsed our expectations in supporting our law firm, and we are grateful. You blindly put your trust in us, and we are over the moon to announce our grand reopening. On March 29th from 2 to 6, drop by our office at 3401 South 79th Street. Meet Ruskin and Zach, grab a pair of free Eclipse glasses, and check out our expanded space and practice areas. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Like an eclipse. Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Walk-Ons is always a win. Whether it's a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner, Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and coming soon to Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, moderate to heavy rain is possible. We'll see an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain just today with occasional showers and thunderstorms with heavy downpours. Our high today, low to mid 60s. We'll start to dry things out tonight. And overnight, low mid to upper 30s. Partly sunny and cooler. Highs near 50 north, upper 50 south. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX, Paris, Fort Smith.
2 seconds, 1 second, he lets fly with a shot.
From the Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect it. Ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin State dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
That's able one Razorback.
Second half, very happy.
It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
And returning here for hour number 3 of halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. I'm Phil Elson, got Matt Jones with me, and the Wolf, Will Whitson, is producing. Calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline. They will come in at 877-377-6963. We have Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South coming up in the next segment. A little bit of college football and more college basketball. Looks like reports are coming in, according to Jeff Borzello and Pete Thamel, that Vanderbilt will hire Mark Byington as its new head coach. Byington coming off of an historic season at James Madison, where they picked up 32 wins in the program's first NCAA tournament victory. Guess it would make sense because their football team just had the kind of success they hadn't been used to, elevating to Division I, and they lost their coach, Cignetti, to Indiana. I would put Indiana football and Vanderbilt basketball nearly on the same level. Maybe Vanderbilt a little higher. Vanderbilt basketball a little higher than Indiana football, but it looks like that's the next one. And again, that's not going to open up a job that I think is going to attract Eric Musselman.
Antoine Randall.
Indiana? That's
thinking Indiana.
I always think Alex Smith, who was a running back when I went to school there for 2 years.
Alex Smith, a quarterback from Utah. But I got you. Yeah.
much there's probably I don't know,
Alex Smith.
5 million
There
Alex
might
Smiths
be a
out there
handful of them, yeah.
playing sports at some point.
Well, you think Vanderbilt got better? I thought Stackhouse was a heck of a coach. You think about last year, and sometimes it's just time for a change, Phil. Just a new voice. But yeah, that just makes the SEC a little bit more tougher.
Byington had been the James Madison coach for 4 years. Won a share of their conference title in 21. They got into the Sun Belt last year, 82 wins in 4 years, and a win in the NCAA tournament. I don't know if they got better or not, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does it matter? Can he recruit? Can he recruit to a school like Vanderbilt, which getting into that school is going to be a little bit different? And I'm sure James Madison is a good school, but I don't think it's quite at the level. It's a public school. I don't think it's quite at the level of Vanderbilt. So, again, I don't think there are any jobs open right now that are as attractive as the one that Muss has right now. We got a caller on hold. Again, those calls and texts come in on the McLarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Brian is in Eureka Springs. Thanks for the call, Brian. What's up?
Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. Hey, I just wanted to correct something that you guys were talking about at the top of the show. And if it's already been done, I apologize. I had to step away and tune out for a little bit. But you mentioned that the SEC and the Big Ten both had 8 teams in. And it's actually the SEC and the Big 12 that had 8 teams. The Big Ten had 6.
That one's on me. Thank you. Yeah, that one's on me.
You bet. That's why there's so many people that are up in arms about it, is because they think that the Big 12 teams have somehow finagled a way to get around some of the rules that the committee uses and that kind of stuff. So,
all right, I appreciate it, Brian. And I don't lose sleep over teams that don't make it into the NCAA tournament. The 69th team, the 70th team, the 71st team. I've never lost sleep over that. And look, if you're the commissioner, if you're Val Ackerman, the commissioner of the Big East, that's your job. That's your job, is to advocate on behalf of your conference and your members, and that's exactly what she's doing. And maybe net ranking does need to be tweaked, and maybe there do need to be a few other perspectives on the committee. I think ex-coaches, if you have them on the football committee, why not on the basketball committee? But I'm never, it's the smallest violin in the world.
The metrics are so inexact because, Seton Hall and Indiana State, if you're just going by metrics, should have been in there. The thing I want to see or don't want to see with this tournament, Phil, is I don't want to see it go to 96 teams or 112 teams. I think 64 is your number, and if you want another tournament, take your 32 teams that
there are other tournaments already. You got a CBI, you got an NIT, you got a CIT.
Right. I think the tournaments. I think it's the best tournament in American sports. The college basketball. I mean, it's such a roll of the dice. It's the NBA. It's going to be Denver versus Boston. Everybody, look, we can see who the two best teams are. It's Denver and Boston. This is a one-off game. Denver could get beat one game. I think the Lakers got swept, I believe. But you can beat them one. Boston, you can beat. Same thing in college basketball. UConn plays any of these teams in a 7-game series. I think UConn's probably it's just it's such a great tournament because it is. It's one or done. And I forget who was on, if it was Mike Irwin who said, Corey Beck talking about it's life or death. This is it. You get in your tournament, you win, you advance, survive and advance, you lose, you go fishing.
Well, that's why it's got that air of the NFL playoffs. You got to play, you got to be ready for that game.
You just got to make it in the tournament.
It's not a series at all. But so if Val Ackerman would advocate on behalf of the Big East, that's a power conference. I view it as the same level as the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC. Greg Sankey is advocating for a larger tournament that would get more of his teams in and would make it a lesser tournament. I mean, I can't digest the idea of doing away with the automatic bids, which is what he's been advocating for. So in that case, it's like, what team gets in from certain leagues? Is you always going to have one team get in? Does it have to be based upon a regular season championship? There should be, if you have member leagues, which you do, to the NCAA, Why shut any of them out from the tournament that's supposed to show who a national champion is? No, I mean, it's like that. You have every league is represented. You can legitimately use the term national champion then. I mean, just trying to look for an example of a team that gets in that wouldn't get in under those circumstances. Long Beach, right? Long Beach doesn't get in if they win their conference championship. Well, then what's the point of playing the conference championship?
Florida State. What's the point of playing? Yeah.
What's the point of playing for a championship if you don't get in? Well, that's almost the same thing. You just don't have enough slots. They've made this tournament so that there's a slot for every single league. They haven't done that in football up until now. Now they finally done it in football. See, if it was the NCAA doing the college football championship, there would be a slot, I would think, maybe for every league. I'm sure there's not the same way in Division II, is it? It can't be.
Well, they got the
Too
best.
many teams.
Well, I don't know how basketball is, but football playoffs in Division II, I think, is pretty cool.
I love it.
Yeah. But keep that in Division II. You don't need that in Division I. But that's really good for Division II.
Well, I think the way the tournament is now, if you're going to open up, what's the number? I mean, you get 68 now. What's the number they're throwing out? 96?
I think so.
Full first round buys for your first couple of seeds, I guess. But don't take away the automatic bids. That is kind of what makes this tournament.
Don't give anybody buys. This isn't a buy tournament.
Oakland wouldn't have gotten in. You wouldn't have seen Oakland play against Kentucky and win that game. That just wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have happened. James Madison might have got in because of winning 31 of 34 games. But that's all right. Well, if they didn't win their league championship, would they have gotten in?
NC State wouldn't have been in if they didn't. They're in the Sweet 16. They're making a little run. And talk about OG Burns. I mean, dude, I think he's could be a Hall of Fame right tackle if he wanted to be, or left tackle. But he's so fun. They run the offense through him, and to watch how he goes about it and watch his basketball savvy and his skill. He's a pretty sharp basketball player.
Charleston probably doesn't get at that point. Even though they lost, I mean, they gave Alabama a really good game. Looked like a team that belonged in the tournament here. In the tournament. I don't mean like the other lower-level tournaments. The tournament.
UNC Alabama. That's going to be a good one, Phil.
Yeah. Well, these are some interesting matchups.
Sweet 16's here. Starts
Houston
Thursday.
and Duke.
Houston, Duke. Oh, my goodness. How fun is that going to be?
How about the idea that Arkansas beat two Sweet 16 teams way back when? One of them is the game. It's so funny, too. Like, people will be talking about the exhibition win over Purdue forever, but it'll always be that thing of, yeah, but it didn't count.
It didn't count.
It didn't count. It was an NCAA tournament atmosphere, but we didn't make the NCAA tournament that year. Well, sure, 2-0 against those teams, but not very good against Tennessee, not very good against Alabama. So you leave it at that.
Hey, North Carolina handled them a little bit.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten about that game because it took place in around Thanksgiving. For some reason, I was paying close attention to football at that point. Probably shouldn't have been doing that either. Hey, we're going to be coming up soon. Well, I don't want to get into this right now. I got other things I got to do before I do that. I want to remind you about the bracket challenge that we're redoing right now for the Sweet 16 at hitthatline.com. You probably balled your bracket up, threw it in the trash, but don't do that with the hitthatline.com bracket challenge. Presented by On the Mark Sports Bar and Grill in Fayetteville, 810 Billiards and Bowling in Fort Smith, and Shelter Insurance agent Chris Dooley. If you log on to hitthatline.com, you see Bracket Challenge, top of the page. Click it, put in your information, and then redo your picks for the Sweet 16. We've got prizes for the round of 64, for the Sweet 16, for the Final Four as well, all at hitthatline.com. We will talk with Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South in just a moment.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here.
Your home for every Razorback football game.
College to midfield, the 40, the 30, college at the 20, to the 10, to the 5, to the pylon. Touchdown, Arkansas!
As you can tell, this means a lot,
Only on ESPN 95.3.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family, from general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Davis, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Now offering same-day crowns. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
A lot of batters have been striking out lately. Don't do that. Hit a home run with Wheeler Power Sports and the Slingshot by Polaris. They're going to make a donation to charity for every strikeout by our favorite college baseball team for the month of March, and for every new Slingshot sold by Wheeler Power Sports. So join the fun and get out on the open road on a new or pre-owned Polaris Slingshot. Check them out online at WheelerPowersports.com or stop by and see them at 901 North 11th Street in downtown Fort Smith.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I would also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the Homestead Tax Credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify. The Homestead Tax Credit can save you up to $425 off of your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by Sebastian County Assessor and paid for by Amendment 79.
Patriot Transport wants to thank their drivers for their hard work and dedication. The local and over-the-road drivers are essential to the Patriot Transport mission. Day in and day out, Patriot Transport drivers are on the road striving for safety and success. To the behind-the-scenes dispatch and office employees, Patriot Transport thanks them as well for the hard work they put in day and night. If you want to be a part of the Patriot Transport family, visit patriottransport.com. Patriot Transport is located in Danville, Arkansas.
The people have voted, and Evans Body Shop has been recognized. Voted best in the River Valley this year and 5 years running best of the best independent body shop. We are so grateful for the support of our community. EBS has hundreds of 5-star reviews and countless satisfied customers. We invite you to experience a customer service level that sets our shop apart from the others. Call or come by today to see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
I know we're always on the go, heading to Fayetteville, Little Rock, Oklahoma City, and you need a place to fill up. But not just for gas. I need snacks, drinks, and a restroom that doesn't make me throw up. That's why my new favorite pit stop is Jam Mart number 10, located at 6201 Grand Avenue on the way out of town. I can't stop by without getting something from their hot box or a fresh made burger. That's Jam Mart number 10, located at 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Down the street.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We usually talk college football with Saturday Down South's Connor O'Gara, national columnist and someone that we love talking football with. But it's basketball time right now. And, Connor, if there's a thing to take you away from spring ball, well, it probably would be your very young child, but also college basketball would be another thing.
Yeah, it is. And look, as Indiana guys, you and I are, you know that this time of year is sacred, even if we don't have our Hoosiers playing in this tournament. They didn't get invited this year or whatever. It is still just a wonderful time of year in which I stay up way too late and watch far too much basketball for my own good.
It has not been a great tournament for the SEC, and for a commissioner who is pounding the rails to try to eliminate automatic bids for conferences, to see only 2 teams from the Southeastern Conference make the Sweet 16 is not a good look for the conference, and certainly for the commissioner that wants to change this tournament up.
Yeah, I saw ESPN Bet had the stat. It's the first time ever that a conference has had multiple teams lose as 13-point favorites, like in the same year, and that's what happened with Kentucky and Auburn, who, I mean, like, quite frankly, it was pretty chalky opening weekend. We only have 4 teams that are top 4 seeds that didn't make the Sweet 16, and those are half of them right there. And losing to the likes of Oakland, which I'm not even sure the majority of listeners of this show know what state that's in. It's in Michigan. And then losing to Yale for an Auburn team that many were saying, look, this team, they could beat UConn and win a national championship. I think that kind of stopped the SEC in its tracks. And, it's been an ongoing theme throughout the 2020s. I mean, it really has. Think about it. The SEC has yet to have a Final Four team. Arkansas has put together the only Elite Eight teams that the SEC has had during the 2020s decade, and it's a continued problem. I mean, think about it. Like, the SEC last year had its first 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, Alabama, since 2015, Kentucky. The SEC has basketball depth in ways that it did not have 10 years ago, but your depth can only take you so far. It's kind of like the Big Ten football argument before Michigan won a national championship. What good does it do to say that your 7th or 8th best team is better than this other conference 7th or 8th best team if you're not winning titles? I mean, that's what it comes down to. And do I think the SEC is going to get there? No. If I'm betting, I don't think that Tennessee or Alabama has the path to be able to get to the Final Four. It was a disappointing weekend when you have, your record tied for most bids ever in the NCAA tournament with 8 and only have 2 left. Not great, especially after those comments from Greg Sankey.
Well, Phil's boy, Nate Oates, went and congratulated the Yale coach after they beat Auburn. Are you a Purdue fan, being an Indiana guy, Connor? Are you kind of rooting for Purdue? You think they make the Final Four?
Let me say it in Spanish for you. No, I am not a Purdue guy. We root against Purdue where I am from, very much so. My wife did work in Lafayette. Not the best place in Indiana. It was great, a great experience and all, but there are better places in the great state of Indiana. I'll just say that. Look, as much as I think a lot of people really hate watching Zach Edey just get a million fouls called in his favor, even though he's bigger than everybody on the court, he just kind of brings out more contact with that size. I do think that there is a certain part of the sport that needs teams like this, that perennial can't get over the hump team. I mean, that's what Purdue is. Like, haven't been to a Final Four since the early 80s, and is this team that always seems to just find a way to not do just that when everything should be set up in their favor. They have an advantage unlike anybody else in the entire sport. But, yeah, I mean, watching them on opening weekend dominate, I did get a call from my father-in-law who was for Purdue, who did, want to boast a little bit, and I get it. Like, Purdue fans should be excited. It's fun to get to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, and I'm glad that Purdue finally got to experience that.
Yeah, but what happens in the, I don't know what you might call it here, the the regular season bowl, to use a football term for a basketball game, when Tennessee plays Purdue in the Elite Eight. Because then you're talking about two programs that have the exact same track record, at least over the last 20 years or so, regular season success, and can't get over the hump. Either one of these two teams is going to make it over that hump. It's just Purdue. First, they got business to take care of before that. I'm hoping they do.
Are we sure? Are we sure that's the way that the Elite Eight's going to line up? Because I'm coming out with my re-picking the rest of the NCAA tournament. I got Gonzaga beating Purdue. I do. And I think that we're getting a reminder of just how good Mark Few is at this. And I think there was a lot of people, myself included, who were saying, well, they don't have Drew Timme to be able to feed, to get that automatic bucket. Arkansas fans know this all too well, of like watching that play out. And, you know, Arkansas was on the better side of this, but, you know, you're seeing what this is like on that stage of, man, it's just so frustrating. And I think that there is definitely a coaching element that comes into that I think Mark Few will be able to tap into and find a way to game plan to beat Zach Edey. You got a week to be able to prepare for him. And I think that bodes well. So, like, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw like a Gonzaga Tennessee Elite Eight. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw a Gonzaga Creighton Elite Eight matchup. I have Creighton getting to the Final Four in my original bracket, like a team that's got three guys that average at least 17 points per game. That's tough as nails. If you watch that game, that overtime game against Oregon, like, they just never say die, and they always find a way to be able to get clean looks late. It feels like it could be Greg McDermott's time. It also could feel like it's Rick Barnes' time now that he's got somebody like Dalton Knecht to kind of get them through those inevitable scoring droughts that they have in the NCAA tournament, like they had against Texas. I think Gonzaga beating Tennessee is my most likely path, but any one of those four teams left in that Midwest region feels like could definitely have a chance to be able to advance to the Final Four.
Connor, UConn hasn't been beat since December 20th. Are they cutting down the nets?
You know, I think, yeah. I mean, if I'm picking today, yes. And in my bracket, I didn't have that because there's a certain strategy that comes out that comes with filling out a bracket where you're like, I don't want to pick the team that everybody has winning a national championship, because then, you know, it comes down to only a few games here or there, and your path is a lot smaller than it could be if you're in a bracket pool. But yeah, I think they do what 06-07 Florida did. And, you know, I have a buddy who's a diehard UConn fan. He went there, and he's like, but the thing that's different about this team that's so impressive, and even more impressive than 06-07 Florida, is that it's largely a new team. I mean, it really is. They have, like, essentially two, maybe three key contributors from last year's team, like Klingon, their big guy, who I'm fascinated to see go up against Jaden Ledee, the San Diego State big, who's been unbelievable, and what that matchup looks like in the, you know, national championship rematch in the Sweet 16. But like Klingon was like a sixth guy last year, like a sixth, seventh guy for him, and now like he's obviously so important in what they do. And it's going to be really interesting to see if anybody can stop Danny Hurley's team, because they are just so versatile and just nothing phases them. They have so many different ways to beat you. So yeah, if I'm betting today, I think they become the first team to repeat since 06-07 Florida.
I've been impressed with Alabama, you know, but more than anything because they were able to defend and show that they can win kind of a grinded-out game against Grand Canyon. I don't have to score 100 points to win. You know what, though? They might have to score 100 points to beat North Carolina. Mark Sears may need 30-35.
Yeah, I think so, too. And this is one of those games where I could definitely see a great back and forth between Mark Sears and R.J. Davis. And this old UNC team just getting everything it can handle from Alabama. That could very much happen. It's crazy to think. I can't remember who tweeted this out, but like UNC's starting lineup, their average age is older than the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, that's just absolutely bonkers. Like, I don't know. I don't get how that happens today, but I mean, Baycott has been there, I think, since Tyler Hansbrough was there. So,
yeah, he handed the baton. Yeah.
That team is ancient at this point. So, yeah, look, I think Alabama, as great as they've been defensively so far in the NCAA tournament, really 3 of their 4 halves that they've played, they've been excellent defensively. It helped that Grand Canyon missed a lot of free throws and basically like didn't run a half-court set in that game last night, where you're just like, what in the world is Grand Canyon doing? Like, they know that the shot clock isn't 8 seconds, right? Like, they can actually work in the half court if they want to. I think Alabama has helped from that. I think UNC, a team that is so old and is so proven in that area. You know, a team that's got a lot of key contributors from 2 years ago. I think that they're able to find a way to beat Alabama in LA, a game that I think could go down to the wire, but not enough Bama defense when they need it.
Hey, Connor, if you're an NFL guy, do you at least contact DJ Burns and see if he wants to be a left or right tackle in the NFL?
You know, it's interesting. I think you can play like 4 or 5 positions. I think left or right tackle would be good. The feet are that's the area where you're like, man, this guy is a unicorn. It is so special to watch what he's been able to do. Just the American hero for NC State. Yeah, man, like there is a world in which, you know, that guy decides, you know what, maybe I don't fit in today's NBA. Let's see if I can get a professional football contract. There's no doubt. Like, can you imagine seeing that guy in a game and coming off of and going into him on an uncalled screen, like what that looks like for you, and how much that experience would just scar you, and you would just have head on a swivel for the rest of your basketball career. And that guy is just an absolute monster, and he's been fun to watch for NC State. But yeah, look, if this whole basketball thing doesn't work out, I mean, I think there are plenty of NFL teams that need some help on the offensive line.
You ever look at the bracket and think how this might play out in football? You look at the 16 teams, yes, some of them don't have football, but hey, you might be on track for a pretty fun Alabama-Clemson matchup in the Elite Eight. Iowa State probably runs away with the East. The Midwest would be funny because Creighton and Gonzaga, have your laugh at that. Purdue and Tennessee would win that. And in the South, I guess I'd take NC State, you know, because Marquette, I don't think they have football. Maybe I'd take Duke. I don't know. Would you ever look at it in football terms?
Yeah. I mean, I try not to do it too much because I am a football guy through and through. I was originally a basketball guy. I'd like to think that I've converted. I try and just stick to the basketball elements and not turn everything into football. But you're right. I mean, I do let my mind wander there. You know, it's funny. I spent 2.5 years out in central Nebraska. And as we talk about this, you know, because Creighton is a team that's left, and ironically enough, in the same region as Gonzaga, who doesn't have football, and Marquette doesn't have football. But Creighton, in the state of Nebraska, it's very well known. They have these things called J-Skers. That is, you root for Creighton basketball and Nebraska football. Like, can you imagine if that was just like the understood in-state philosophy? Like if in Arkansas, you only root for Arkansas football, but then there was another team that you root for in basketball. Like if you just made that your thing. And I realize it's bad timing because Nebraska, you know, getting the NCAA tournament, there's a lot of momentum there. But like if that was just the mantra, how weird that would be if you had to like shift your fandom and you have multiple college teams that you root for. But that exists. That exists in many places, especially at some of these basketball-only schools.
J-Skers. I love it. That's new. Connor, enjoy the rest of the tournament, and we'll revisit in a couple of weeks. Final Four, okay?
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
It's Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South. All right, going to tell you about the Party Place. And on April 8th, also known as Eclipse Day, we're going to be having a special halftime live at the Party Place in Fort Smith. This is at 7810 Rogers Avenue, right behind Ashley Furniture. And just moved there a couple of months ago, brand new location for the Party Place. You can also get your Eclipse glasses for Eclipse Day at the Party Place. Some places are running out of this. These are iOS certified glasses and all sorts of other Eclipse and Space products as well at both locations. Party Place has locations in Fort Smith and in Conway. Got all the seasonal decorations you're looking for Easter, Cinco de Mayo coming up, all the patriotic holidays, the Olympics as well. Razorback items, sports themes, all available at the Party Place. All kinds of costumes, hats, wigs, masks, school spirit. They got fog machines, animatronics, wristbands, ticket rolls, everything you need to throw the best party possible at the Party Place in both Fort Smith and Conway. Matt will be there on April 8th. For Eclipse Day. Should be a lot of fun and hope to see you there. Meanwhile, we're into the home stretch of halftime, and we're back in just a moment.
You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
Hey, we're David and Greg Figueroa, founders of Melinda's Hot Sauce. Sometimes brand testimonials feel, well, unbelievable. So we have a fresh take. Tasty-monials. Comments from real people on the internet who love Melinda's balance of hot heat and fresh, flavorful ingredients. At 2021 Do Work says, legendary. Nobody does it better. What was that? Sounds for fire emoji, touchdown emoji, and 100% emoji. Okay. At Snack Food Mafia says, I love how they were a thicker hot sauce and not some watery junk. Love it. At Mushroom writes, best hot sauce west of the Mississippi, also the best hot sauce east of the Mississippi. Pro tip, that's the whole United States. Finally, at IGP1 always says, smack so hard. We love to hear that as much as the FCC. Set your mouth on flavor with Melinda's hot sauces. Find them at your local retailer or online at melindas.com. That's MELINDAS.com.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith. As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PBS-STORE or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
What's on your to-do list today? Does it include looking for a new piece of heavy equipment? If so, come by and see us at Sharp Equipment today and explore our latest offers and deals as a Wacker-Neuson dealer. Whatever your day brings, whatever job it is you need to complete, Wacker-Neuson Equipment is up to the task, and Sharp Equipment is here to help. Stop in Central Hydraulics and see us at Sharp Equipment, located at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or give us a call at 479-242-1406.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hot link, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their hand-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Hi, this is Garen Armstrong with Shamrock Roofing and Construction. That small roofing company my father started 45 years ago has now become one of the largest roofing companies in America by following one rule, the golden rule. No one can install a better roof at a better price, a better warranty than Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Let our local family serve your family. Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Call today or visit us online at shamrockroofer.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
On the floor, and I can't find my heart. Where did it go? Did I leave it in the cold? So please give it back. It's not yours to take. Deep in the cup. Somebody help me, 'cause I can't find my way. Nobody move. Nobody move.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
All right, Wolf, you ever hear of Color Me Bad? Does that name ring a bell for you?
I feel like I've heard of it. Maybe not the.
Nobody
maybe no.
came-
Is that a band?
I wouldn't use the term band. It's just a boy group. Nobody really came out of that one. New Edition. You've heard of New Edition, right?
I think so.
Yeah, there were some good ones that came from that. Bobby Brown, Ralph Tresvant, a couple others too. Matt, I'm going to guarantee he's never heard of Menudo, and it's not breakfast. Ricky Martin came from Menudo. I remember watching their cartoons on ABC in the morning. Have you heard of Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter?
Of course.
Two guys that may end up in the draft 2025.
They may pull an Eli.
That's what Dion
He
says.
said they're top 4. He said they're locks to be top 4 picks, but they may pull an Eli.
Did he say? He also said that he doesn't want his son playing in the cold.
There you go.
Are they not in Colorado right now?
That's a very good question. It's rather high elevation. I think it's over 6,000 feet altitude in Boulder, so it does get cold there. It really does get. They haven't put a dome over the stadium yet. I don't think they have enough sellouts yet to put a dome over that field.
Yeah, he said. So he said whenever they go to the NFL, he doesn't want them to go to a team that plays in the cold. So I don't know.
Certain cities that fit, according to Dion. And is he talking about both of them? Is he talking about both Shedeur and Travis Hunter here?
Travis Hunter, Phil, he's the number one prospect as far as a two-way player since Charles Woodson, and Charles Woodson won the Heisman. So, yes, Travis Hunter is 100%. He's the best athlete in this next draft. No question about it.
He's 1-1.
I don't know. I don't
one.
know if because it goes quarterback, right? Like you always say a quarterback. I'm saying Travis Hunter is football player. He's the best. He's the best football player. But is he? I think he's 100% a cornerback.
I was going to say you can't go both ways now.
You can have a package. You can have a certain package. You've seen guys do it where you have a package. It's so hard on your body, Phil. I just don't think you would want a player playing 86 snaps. I just don't think you can do it. He couldn't do it at Colorado. I think you got to come back a little bit and say, look, we can play you on offense, but you can't just go both ways. Phil, he has a chance to be just as special as Charles Woodson, I believe. And Charles Woodson's a Hall of Famer, Heisman. I mean, all the accolades. That's how good Travis Hunter is at playing cornerback.
There's some that think that Shedeur may end up being one of the top 3 quarterbacks in next year's draft. So, I mean, let's say he has this amazing season. Let's say that, he leads Colorado to 9 or 10 wins or something and improves upon, some really good numbers this last year. He could end up potentially the 1-1. He's really athletic. He can run outside the pocket. The kid obviously knows the sport of football.
You think he's a Donovan McNabb athletic? He's not Michael Vick. Now, the difference, McNabb's a 4'6" guy. Vick's a 4'3". Yeah, so he's more that. Now, RG3 would be more closer to Vick, where Andrew Luck. So he's more athletic ability is, I guess you would say like an Andrew. I'm trying to think right now. He's not Colin Kaepernick. But he'd be more athletic than Kirk Cousins.
I love that he calls it an Eli. That basically like telling the teams at the top of the draft list that you're not going to play for him is an Eli.
And I think he's basing he said it on location, but I think it's based on the GM, history, stability, continuity, kind of the culture, stuff like
He's
that.
He's looking at the cold weather, man. It's like, so if Seattle's looking for a quarterback, but they've got this good roster, like look at Caleb Williams with Chicago. They've got something there already. They're just sort of missing the quarterback. Same with the Jets. I just imagine, I don't know if they'll be looking for a quarterback or not to kind of sit behind Rodgers, but that's what you'd look at. Like Eli said no to San Diego, and I don't even remember what the Chargers roster looked like then. They were just kind of mired in a string of unsuccessful years. You don't want to be what happened with Bryce Young this last year. Be the odds-on favorite, overall number one pick, and go to a team that's got a lot more to worry about than just quarterback. You worry about the weather all that much, right? You're going to put it on the weather too much.
I'd worry about my offensive line.
Right.
I'd worry about and the thing with Chicago is they've had 3 quarterback coaches, I think, in as many years. So you're trying to get just to your point, didn't Carolina fire their quarterback coach in the middle of the season?
Heck, I mean, they've
and
fired,
their OC.
they fired their coach. I mean,
They let everybody go.
So they get everybody, and then their owner is throwing drinks on a fan.
Who put too much ice in here?
What else do you see? Looks like the owners have approved a rule proposal that bans the swivel hip drop tackle, which I guess there can be quite a few injuries that result from this. But this is also something that the NFLPA was against. The Players Association objected to the proposal. So, I mean, you already have certain kinds of tackles that are banned, going for the head, and quarterbacks are protected in ways that other players aren't when they're in the pocket. But this also sounds like a completely different thing for a player to wonder about how am I allowed to tackle this guy? So, Matt, I mean, for a layperson, explain to me what is the swivel hip drop tackle? I picture it as grabbing someone around the hips and then just trying to pull him to the ground as you swivel your body, and they get a little worried that you might trap the body on an ankle or a knee.
And first of all, I agree with the NFLPA that I don't think this should be banned. I think it's a legal play. I think they're making a big fuss out of nothing. But yeah, you grab a hold up top and you're putting your weight. You're almost kind of carrying your weight, and it's just going right on his hip. You're just kind of folding him over a little bit, and it really just sticks that ground. Whatever hip you do it on, it just puts that ground in the leg, and you have all that weight going on to it. But man, it's tackle football. I don't understand what you mean. You got to get the guy. You're telling me if Ricky Williams, Walter Payton, whoever you want to say out of your running backs, you get a hold of him, you're not going to do whatever it takes to get him down. If it's a hip, I mean, get out of here. Who's the guy? Derrick Henry. Well, we're going to get him down however we got to get him down. You know what I mean? We're going to try to delicate tackle that dude. He'll run right through you.
Short of cutting his feet off with some kind of saw that you were able to get onto the field somehow. Get him down any way possible.
Any way possible.
Well, and you see the defensive players that are the ones that already, and you can see different tackling techniques now, trying to avoid targeting.
Well, you got a hit zone. Yeah, you got a target area.
But at least the target that you can launch for. In this, it's like, well, I just imagine if you grab somebody, it happens so quickly. How can you think about this? It's just got to eventually, what this will end up, there are going to be a ton of flags this next year on this very tackle.
I think it's so subjective. Like, it's so to look at that in real time as an official, you're asking these guys to do too much. I just don't. I mean, you think about all the stuff they have to do. Now you're doing that one. That's such a hard. It's such a judgment call that it's going to be. I don't think it's a good look.
I mean, this leads to. Does this lead to?
Is it a 15-yard penalty?
Does it lead to more yardage for offenses? I mean, it's one more thing for a defender to think about in something that you don't really have the time to think split second when they have to think about it. It'll result in more defensive penalties. It'll result in more points this next year in football in the NFL. You can still tackle however you want in college football, I guess. Darius Slay says about to be a lot of missed tackles. DJ Reader says two-hand tag is better.
Darius Slay ain't tackled anyone all year, but that's beside the point. If I was the players, it would be no more field turf. That's the thing that they're missing. They're sweeping under the rug. They're doing whatever. No more field. We want natural grass.
And every once in a while,
that will help keep you healthier.
Every once in a while, a player does sort of step out of line and mention that. But I don't think it ever comes to negotiations with the owners and the Players Association. They're talking about changing the rules for kickoffs so that the excitement of kickoffs come back. You know, I mean, what were there some other things that they?
I do
changed
like
here?
that rule where if they start, it'd be kind of like a rugby rule or like a.
Well, they haven't voted on this yet. I guess it's supposed to come up maybe tomorrow. I would imagine they're going to change this rule back to, well, not back, just create a kickoff that makes more sense. But Matt, I think there are more players that agree with you than are willing to come out and talk about it. Yeah, I would agree. More grass, less field turf. If you're worried about player safety,
especially in New York, especially what Dion's saying, when the weather gets cold, you got this rubber and plastic that you're trying to cut it. You need the natural. You need the aspect of grass. It just gives so much better for your joints. I'm telling you, Phil. Every time we played a game on field turf, your bones ached. It took an extra day to recover. To kind of get back to going instead of when you played on grass. It's just the facts.
You take it from someone that knows what that feels like. Hey, during the basketball tournament, during anything going on in sports, Masters coming up. Of course, you got Major League Baseball season that is just about a week or so away. And look, I know they played 2 games in Korea, but the rest of the regular season hasn't started. All kinds of prop bets on college basketball, on the NBA, and everything else going on in the world of sports. It's available on BetSarrazin. It is Arkansas's favorite sports betting app. For you Apple users like me, if you don't have it, download it from the App Store. Any Android users use Google Play. All the web browsers use as well, BetSarrazin.com. Remember, you got to be inside the state of Arkansas to use BetSarrazin. Time to close halftime up. That's in just a moment.
0.9% financing on a new 23 or 24 GMC Sierra at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Save up to $6,500 off with factory rebates on a new GMC Sierra truck, or take $3,750 off with 0.9% financing or 2.9% financing for up to 72 months on Sierra 1500. 6.2-liter engine excluded. Conquer with confidence in a new GMC Sierra from Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
Walk-Ons is always a win. Whether it's a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner, Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and coming soon to Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
Husbands, sons, daughters, honor your wife or mother for Mother's Day at the inaugural Mystery at the Fort Legacy Ball, benefiting Heart to Heart Pregnancy and Family Care Center on May 11th at the U.S. Marshals Museum. Buy your tickets today for this 1940s mystery dinner, coupled with an exciting night of investigative entertainment and lively dancing with the band Who Shot JR. For more information, call 479-452-2260.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call your local Shelter agent, Chris Dooley, at 479-646-6792.
Hi, I'm Mike Van Jr. with Mike Jr.'s Mobile Wash. You can count on my team to provide top-quality pressure washing and exterior cleaning services for your property.
What all do you service?
Fence washing, gutter or deep concrete cleaning for your home, commercial business, and more.
Do you have insurance?
Absolutely. We're covered with liability insurance, and we also use safe and effective wash methods, leaving your home or business looking brand new.
I guess I need to go to your website, mjmobilewash.com.
Or just give me a call at 479-763-5561.
Mike
Jr.'s Mobile Wash. One call cleans it all.
Lack of teamwork, failure of communication, overall disappointment. I'm not talking about your favorite basketball team's performance in March. I'm talking about your marriage. If you're getting divorced, don't listen to the myths about custody and child support. Call me, Jackie Mock, at Mock Legal Solutions to discuss your rights and options. 479-769-1505. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Will your bracket be better than Matt Jones, Derek Ruskin, and the rest of the ESPN Arkansas team? Then prove it. Sign up for the HitThatLine.com Bracket Challenge presented by On the Mark Sports Bar and Grill in Fayetteville, 810 Billiards and Bowling in Fort Smith, and Shelter Insurance agent Chris Dooley. Registration is easy. Just find the contest on HitThatLine.com. The HitThatLine.com Bracket Challenge is also brought to you in part by Walk On Sports Bistro, Century Bank of the Ozarks, Cafe Conchisme, Links at Chaffee Crossing, and Foghorns Wings.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Words disappear. Words once so clear. Only echoes passing through the night. Lines on my face. Your fingers once trace. Fading reflection of what was.
Listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Second round of the women's basketball NCAA tournament concludes today. Ole Miss is down 15 to Notre Dame near halftime. And there appears to be some very interesting and breaking news coming off of social media. Jersey Wolfenbarger, who left Arkansas in October and was going to go into the transfer portal, has apparently committed to play at LSU. And looking at her Instagram post, there is another post on the comments from Talia Scott. And Talia answers, "Go Tigers." So it looks like two Arkansas players that are in the portal are not in the portal anymore. Nothing announced about Talia Scott. But Wolfenbarger has committed to LSU, and Talia Scott may not be far behind her.
Did she spell it G-A-U-X?
Of course, if you're going to do it in their the way they do it.
You never had your car, you never had your girl. That's right. She's a LSU Tiger. Good for her.
That's very interesting. Very interesting. It makes sense for Talia. It does. She'll have to share the ball a little bit more than she shared it at Arkansas. For Wolfenbarger, she has to get a lot better than what we saw in 2 years. I mean, a lot better to crack even, I think, the first 7 players, maybe 8 at LSU in that rotation. And coming off a year where she hasn't played any basketball at all, no sort of organized basketball. So, well, a 5-star, so I guess the talent's there. It's just you never saw it turn into production at Arkansas, and this was not the year for it to happen, obviously, either.
They won't ask her to play a 5 or a 4 there, so she might be a little more comfortable.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah,
she'll need a little more loft on her shot. I never saw the dribble drive that she'll need there. But then again, I mean, it's a full year, and I remember thinking, watching Jersey for 2 seasons. It looked like somebody that needed time to like grow into her body with how quickly she shot up. Maybe that's happened this last year because the coordination was just a tiny bit off. But things can change over the course of a year. But man, that's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. 2 of the top recruits ever for Arkansas women's basketball. And again, Talia's not official, but if you put "Go Tigers" on someone else's post that you're committing to LSU, then the writing is right there on the wall, literally.
Happy Monday, Phil.
And that's a great way to finish off a Monday here on Halftime. Anything you missed, our interviews with Mike Irwin and Connor O'Gara will be on the Eastside Liquor Halftime podcast, and Ruskin and Zach are ready to come up in just a moment. And we're back with you tomorrow for a Tuesday edition of Halftime. For Matt Jones and for The Wolf, I'm Phil. Thanks for listening. Get up, get out, and get better.